Well, hello again, everybody. This is John from 60 Marketing, getting into another SEO website assessment. We have a really fun organization here that I'm going to assess their website today. Based out of Chicago, it's an organization called IPaintMyMind. So, what they're specifically focused on is corporate art consulting services. So, they do a variety of different things, and certainly it's highlighted here organizationally. It's a nonprofit, and in terms of the focus of their website, as I mentioned, and on what they need the most help with in their marketing, is to promote the various services that center around their corporate art offering. So for this company, and they service a national audience. It's really important to keep that in mind anytime that you're looking at your website or just assessing a website on the SEO front. Who's the target audience, where they're located, and in looking at the corporate art services here that they offer: murals, rentals, events, consulting. So a lot of different things here, in terms of options to their target audiences of businesses across the country. So there's a lot of different directions we could go here in terms of the overall assessment of the website. If we go high level, I'll typically start with looking at keywords, which I have some to show you here today. But some fundamental things that we look at in terms of like things that are really important in Google's mind for 2024, and there are a lot here, is the website speed. So I'll use a tool called tools.pingdom.com. And I did a quick assessment here. You just pop in your URL and choose the location that's most prevalent, North America, Washington, D.C. And we can see here that the overall performance grade of the website is 65, and the load time is just under 2 seconds. So Evan, who's been my primary point of contact at the organization, is just really looking for low-hanging fruit opportunities to try and improve the site. I think from an overall perspective, this is one of them. So their website is built in a software called WordPress. And what's good in relation to WordPress and website speed is that there is a plugin called WP Rocket. So if you go out, it's a premium plugin. So I think it costs somewhere around like $50. But you add this plugin into the website, and there's some really, really cool things it does in terms of like caching that will help really speed up the website kind of universally. You have to plug and play with some settings. So that's something that I would, highly recommend, just to do two things. Really get that performance grade up and the load time down. Now, some of you may be looking at Google PageSpeed Insights. I certainly look at that as well. But typically the improvements that come in just, plugging and playing with WP Rocket, they flow into improvements here, and then also in Google PageSpeed Insights. This is just a little bit more consolidated, so you can see the impact of the changes that are being made once the plugin is implemented. Now, the other thing that you want to take a look at, and I Google, schema.org, the validator.schema.org, and what I was trying to do is look at the website and look and see if there's something called schema in place. So I describe schema, which is kind of, I don't know if I'd say it's relatively new in importance, but it's really important in the eyes of Google for a lot of different reasons. The schema is something that's hidden behind the scenes to some extent. It's almost like equivalent to, but a little bit different than the meta description on a page. So the meta description on a page is something that's behind the scenes. People don't really see it, but it is important in terms of SEO. It still is today. But if you go to the schema validator, you can see, whether you have schema on your website for a specific page or a competitor does as well. So for their website, they have a schema category. And what schema is that it's just attributes behind the scenes that tell Google more information about, one, the website, and two, the page that you're on. So they have one set of schema on here that just flows into the web page, and you can see here, again, the left side is the code. That is what the code looks like behind your web page. I know it's interesting. But on the right-hand side parses out different elements, and you can see here that, it does look like a bunch of different elements jumbled up. But what Google's seeing when they read this is that, okay, this is a web page. Here's the description of the web page, website. just to give a little bit more detail about the organization. And they, as they scan the website, they can parse the website and really determine, learn a little bit more about your site and the pages to get more information. Things that I would recommend, there's a plugin called Schema Pro. It's another premium plugin on the WordPress side that I would highly recommend. And what this does is you can select specific schema to apply to pages, and it automatically attributes data that's already populated into your, and this is specifically for WordPress, pulls in data from WordPress and automatically populates it into the attributes. Certainly you can customize it, but you can apply stuff to pages like there's a local business schema. There is a article schema. And what's really important about that, now article schema would probably go in a blog post, but you might want to try attributing it to pages, because what that does is it actually includes the data publication of the page, the author of the page, because Google's really looking for authorship. I would highly encourage all of you to add author information and data publication pages to any page on your website, because that's what Google's looking for now. Is they're looking for authenticity, they're looking for unique content, and they're looking for content that's current too. It makes sense, because if you put your mind in the person who's searching for stuff, they want to see current stuff. So just keep that in mind as well. So those are two kind of high level things that can be applied across the website that will help from an overall perspective. When we get into keywords, let me move myself out of the way here. I always struggle with this, bear with me. Where do I put my face as I'm sharing my screen, right? You can see here that I did some keyword research with some brief conversations with Evan. The focus is the US, so I really try to pull some high-level things off. So you can see here, in terms of, let's just do this. Let's sort descending from where they're ranking well for. So there's a couple of really key terms. And again, if you're looking at things, here's the keyword phrase. Here's how many times it's searched nationally, monthly on average. And this data is pulled directly from Google. We use a program called SE Ranking. And then this shows the keyword position of this specific keyword phrase. So nationally, they rank #1 for corporate art services, which is solid. And then you can kind of see, the search volume, and certainly we'll take any kind of top rankings as long as they're relevant. But my guess is that they'd probably want to get more into some of these keyword phrases. So, and again, I try to put together a little bit of a sample of diverse keyword phrases. So you have art rentals, artwork for office. So they will provide artwork and rent artwork out to specific offices depending upon their interests. So that's definitely a keyword that they would want to rank highly for. And you can see they're in the top 10 for it. I think that one of the things that they can do from a low-hanging fruit perspective is diversify some of the content that they have on the website to be a little bit more specific. So yeah, there's going to be solutions and a strategy for going after some of these high volume terms, which I can speak to. But in terms of diversification, check this out. So medical office artwork. Let's see here. I'm trying to find another like kind of niche one. Corporate is a variant, right? But pediatric office murals, they do offer murals as well. So what you get to see here a little bit is you get into a couple of different, besides variances of keywords, you start to get into some diversity in terms of industries. So that would be something else that I would encourage them to do, is start to talk about, okay, what types of businesses do they typically work with, and what types of industries are they in, to create industry-focused pages and content to draw people in who are looking for their specific service. So the artwork rental, the murals, that sort of thing. So a lot of the stuff that they're trying to rank for, and just the general one, is competitive, but that type of specific focus centered around the industries may not be as competitive. So that's another opportunity from a content perspective. When we go to the website, let's take a look at probably something that they'd be interested in learning more about. And certainly I'm sending them this. So hopefully this helps, guys. I really would yield to the client about what the priorities would be in terms of keywords. I mean, certainly we talk about that before we put together our keyword list anyways. If we pull up the page here, let's just take a look at it. Really the biggest thing, I really like the diversification in terms of the visual approach on the page. The biggest thing here with Google is the content and have it be meaningful to the visitor. So what we've been moving into with a lot of our customers is bringing in long form content, but meaningful long form content where we'll go out and we'll do research on, if people are looking for artwork, renting artwork, what are the common questions that they have? And really try to address those in terms of FAQs on pages and have those prevalent to almost be shaped up as a helpful guide to someone who is, one, both interested in their specific services, but just in general. Because Google really likes that type of content and it speaks to their knowledge base of, okay, look, we are professionals that provide this service. Here's us, flexing our muscles in terms of what you need to know when renting artwork. So I think that's something else that you could address in terms of the content is really creating unique content, doing that for us, doing the research to understand that, but also that's part of communicating with us should we, our team, move into optimizing the content and crafting that content is getting that firm understanding of it. But we'll also look at, the competition. So I'm sure that they have already in terms of not only just competitors that they look at, but also search competitors too. Lastly, on the website, I think one of the biggest opportunities that I see from an overall perspective is, let's go to the corporate art services page. So really the biggest thing here is as people find your website, you want to make it very easy for them to contact you. So I'd encourage them, they've got this corporate art guide, which was actually really helpful in going through the website. Naturally, I did download that. But the biggest thing here is making sure that they can contact you. So having a phone number up at the top right. And as you get deeper into the website, having a call to action at the top right on some of these pages is just so important. To the extent of, I try to maximize this space to put a form up or even some kind of graphic call to action to go to the contact page. The other thing that I would encourage you to do, everybody out there, you can see that they have this book a call that goes to a Calendly page so you can actually book an appointment. So I know there's different philosophies on doing this. I would just say this is that we've had more success driving people to a form and having them fill out a form in terms of visit to response than Calendly. I like Calendly a lot. We use Calendly, but I would highly recommend you stay away from that, from presenting it as an option to your customers. I know it seems like a good option from a sales perspective because they can just book an appointment with you, but from the user coming to the website, it acts as another set of steps to get them to actually fill out information to contact you. More steps equals more complication and less response. So I would encourage you to go back to the old form and phone number as the primary call to action as opposed to the Calendly. I think you'll get a better response. So hopefully that helps. But please let me know if anybody has any questions on this front. And hopefully this helps in your own assessment of your site and certainly for IPaintMyMind. Okay, thanks.